to Studio on 7. I'm Cappy, and I'm going to do some rocks and a few things, techniques in acrylic so that you can get a better idea and with reference to the previous video on watercolor rocks. So without further ado, let's get started and I'll try and explain as we go along. Yeah, have a great art day. So, we're going to start off with I'm using a smaller brush today. That's the size of the brush. It's a microwave number 8. And I'm going to start with doing a rock in two colors using yellow ochre and I think this one is burnt umber. Let me just check that on that one. Oh, sorry, burnt sienna. So these are part of the limited palette that I use. The colors are ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, yellow ochre, and then white. Those are the three primaries plus white. Then I use a booster color of cad red and cad yellow, and then the burnt sienna or umber if you wish to go for that. So first one, using the umber on the bottom with the ochre on the top, and all you do is you take your brush and you do a stroke like that. Now what you're getting is you're getting a mix of the yellow and the sienna together, and that in turn is creating light and shadow on your rocks. Now I haven't put any gesso onto this canvas. This is an A4 canvas. I haven't put any gesso onto this at all, and what you see is what you get. So that's one way of doing some rocks. Now you can carry on repeating that. Of course, as this dries, you can add some other further highlights to this. So what I do is I usually mix or put a little bit of white onto that, and use that little bit of white as a highlight, a further highlight. So we have 3 tones then on the canvas. So here we go with something a little bit bigger in the background. And just add a bit of grounding into onto the canvas as well, so that you've got a bit of ground around the around this piece. So what I'll do is I'm going to mix up a brown, and for this I use yellow ochre, and yeah, let me actually do it under the camera here. I hope you can see it. Yellow ochre, bit of the burnt sienna. That gives me a nice reddish brown, and then to darken it, add a touch of ultramarine blue. It gives me a nice dark brown. Still got that red in it, and then what I can do is I can pop in some shadow. Seeing the light maybe coming from that side, so I just pop in some shadow onto those rocks. and round off the bases as well. And you'll see the red of that sienna coming through there very nicely, and giving a nice texture to the rock. So if I was using gesso on this, the rock would actually be a lot smoother. I'm not using any gesso. I still haven't even applied water to this. I haven't even put any water onto the brush. I just wash the brush off. That's it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a smaller brush, well, a round brush, and sorry, same as the brush that I was using just now, just one size smaller, I think. Call this one a size 4. And now what I'll do is I'll put in some yellow ochre with a touch of white to give a bit of a highlight color to that, and pop a highlight on this side. The sun would be coming from that side, so just popping in a little bit of a highlight there. You can try this with watercolor as well. It works very well, as in my last video without commentary. That was very unedited and just the spur of the moment kind of video. I hope you gain some valuable info from this. Okay, so that's a group of 3 rocks. We could turn that into a little vignette by adding some green and popping in some grass and things around that. But for now, we'll just focus on that one. The next one I want to go to is using a good old card. This is my old Costco card. I have a number of cards. You can use varying thicknesses. I just managed to get these from various places over here. And yeah, if you've got an old shopping loyalty card or something similar, then I'm sure that you can utilize that. So what we're going to start with is I'm going to use a synthetic, I think it's a synthetic brush this. I'm quite sure. Anyway, we start with yellow ochre. Go for a sandy color rock. So yellow ochre, and just work in the shape that you kind of want. Now, for this, it must be a bit wet. So please add some water to this, not too much so that we've got a pool of water on here. So I'm going to go for something a little bit bigger in this one. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix in some, I think we go for something something bluish maybe, so mix in pop some blue in there. Obviously it's going to go green. You're going to get that hint of green coming through as well. And then getting some dark brown again. Just use this, push it to the blue side. Just do some more of that dark brown over here. Really blue dark brown. Let's go with that color. and put that pretty thick over the top. I hope it works on this surface because it works very, very well in the sketchbook. Now you're going to have to let that dry a tad. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let's just do something like that. Let it dry a bit, and then work on that. Just a quick one on that one. I used a double loaded brush. Now to use water and just build up a rock using only water and highlights. So I'm going to pop in a couple of shapes here. And now thin it out a bit with a brush that is loaded with water. So we'll do the same again, like from that side. So I'm going to take this side and thin it out using water and cleaning your brush each time, thinning out what you have on here. So basically you're going to see the canvas underneath. You can see it starting to come through, and push the color over to the left hand side of this rock by lifting out using water. So I hope you can see it there, a lot lighter on this side now, and we keep it a bit darker on the other side. So now I'm going to use some touch of brown and just lighten that up with a little bit of white, and then we'll put in some dark start layering in some of the dark. Just by adding water and leaving some light and darker areas. Obviously over here, taking off with the brush, using the brush and water to lift that out, but leaving patches of the yellow ochre a little bit darker than what it was, uh, like it was in the beginning, and then slowly but surely adding more and more dark as we come out of the sunlight. So, and it doesn't matter if the yellow mixes up, because this is kind of like a sandstone type rock, and you get various different kinds of tones in the rocks. So really, Mother Nature really has some beautiful mixes out there. So we're going to let this this front piece alone now and let that dry because there's still a bit of water in that. I'm going to work on the back now, and I'm going to want to take a wee bit out of that as well. That has started to dry. So this side would be in shadow here, bit of shadow. So we're going to do the top of this rock. We'll have the highlight. So let's just work like that. We get that water out. Alright, I think that's pretty nice highlight onto that one. Just got to remember to clean your brush. Every time you remove paint, you need to either wipe it with a paper towel or dip it in the water. Okay, so now we want to work in this area here, and we're going to use some dark again for that. There's already a bit of a dark yellow over here, and so we're going to run a bit of a line, a faint line around the edge here where the shadow would be. Note that shadows are not pure black, so nowhere on my palette, well, I do use black from time to time, but I don't have black as an everyday use. We mix up our own darker colors. So we want some dark at the back here, and it will get lighter as we come around. And then what you can do is, and what is pretty good, black is pretty good for, is if you want to, you can use the black for drawing in cracks and things on the rock. But I found nice dark brown, you can pretty much draw in some really nice features. So maybe bring a line down the center here that splits up. Just got to let that dry a bit. I think this one has dried a bit enough so that I can actually come in and use the card on here. So, and this technique as well, you really do need to clean off each time, depending on where your sun is coming from. So so the sun is coming from this side, so I'm going to have highlights on this side of the rock. And just remember, not all rock has direct sunlight on it. So whereas these might be very bright, the rest of the rock might not be in direct sunlight. It is in light, but not in direct sunlight. So getting these, and the top really has to be in light. So I'll just use something a bit smaller here. And here the canvas is showing through. As I said, I haven't used any gesso on this, so canvas adds to that texture for the rock. And we can go the other way, down the back side here. And of course we can come over all of this again with a brush and work on highlights, put in some extra highlights. It's not necessary to do all the rocks with the card, but you can get out some really, really cool shapes with the card. I've seen cards that have been cut so that they can be utilized for doing different shapes. I just keep a flat card. It's good fun and relatively quick as far as this process is concerned. So now I actually want to lift this color out here, this excess color at the bottom. Just lift that out and use it. And it gives you that nice dark effect on the bottom. So now we have three different ways of doing rocks. Here you can see the sun coming through here, therefore a bit darker on the inside here. Just maybe add a little bit more to this edge here as it comes down. I need to just bring this around a bit. Okay, so three ways in which we can do rocks. The first one I double loaded and then added one or two highlights here and there. This one using water and shadow to go in onto the rock. What I can do now is I think we can use some maybe some dark brown, and I'll use the very small script liner or the smaller script liner and draw in some cracks onto these rocks. So we'll use some of this dark brown and let's see what we can do here. So we could bring in something here that will give us a little bit extra shape on this rock here. And maybe some cracks onto this rock. And pop in some dark down here. You don't have to do a whole rock full of cracks, but you can just accentuate certain places on the rock. This one I'm not going to worry about because there are pretty much many cracks and things in this. What we can do is we can put out some highlights once this is dried completely, and it does take a time to dry. I could have taped this down and that would have stopped the buckling due to the water, and also not using gesso. When I paint for myself, then I gesso front and back so that the canvas does not buckle as much as what it has done today. Just a word of advice there. Um, I I like using gesso both sides. Not always possible, but um, not a bad idea to do that. Stops the paint from going all the way through. Um, just add a bit of a rock break shadow in there. Nice big crack in there. Okay, so I hope you gained some info from this, and it's useful and you can use it for what you're going to do. This is in acrylic. The previous one was in watercolor, using the same techniques, not much different. Watercolor, obviously going on with your lighter colors. Here I did as well, but you can do it either way. Uh, Usually in acrylic, dark color down first, light on top. But with the rocks going in like this, we do it with the light and the dark all at once. So it gives a pretty nice finish. And yeah, if you're doing an up close kind of uh, portrait, well, not portrait, landscape, you can actually get some really super um, features going on your painting. Um, so, yeah, have a good day. Hope you enjoyed that. Cheers. Thanks for watching this tutorial. I hope that it helps some of you. So keep arting, and if you're interested, we run workshops on how to do this. All the details are in the following slides. Have a great day. Cheers.